Well, you may have seen something on Facebook this past week, or maybe it was last week, about it being the 45th anniversary of a particular baseball game that happened in 1970, June 12th, 1970. A pitcher by the name of Doc Ellis thought his team had a day off.
All right.
They did not. Doc Ellis thought that his team was still in Los Angeles. They were not. They had moved on to San Diego. Doc Ellis owned a house in Los Angeles, and he had his team's permission to stay there. So he didn't stay at the hotel with the rest of the team. He stayed with his girlfriend at his house. He did not realize the team had left by bus for the airport and flown on to San Diego. It was only until that next day when, at some point in the early afternoon, I suppose it was, his girlfriend opened up the front door, pulled the newspaper in, and started to flip through it. And she got to the sports section. Suddenly she said, uh-oh. Because there it was in black and white. Not only did the Pirates have a game that night in another town, but Doc Ellis was scheduled to pitch. Serious logistical problem. There was one other little detail worth mentioning, I suppose. Doc Ellis and his girlfriend the night before had taken a rather large amount of LSD. After staying up the whole night, they decided to take more. Well, that's when they found out about the game. So at some point, they had to book flights. Then they had to pack. Then they had to make their way to the airport. They had to check in. They had to go through security. They had to walk down the jetway or up the stairs of the plane and sit in this seat. That plane started to move, and it started to go down the taxiway, and then it shot down the runway, and that plane went up in the air. And then that plane came down. And then they had to go collect their luggage. And then they had to go arrange a ride to the ballpark. And they got to the ballpark just before game time. And Doc Ellis told the manager he didn't feel so good. Tried to get out of pitching, and the manager said, "Doc, you're it. You're all we have. It's you. You're pitching." So Doc Ellis sucked it up. He went out there, and not only did he pitch a complete ball game, the man threw a no-hitter.
Of course.
And this is a true story. It was a lovely summer's morning, an off day in LA. So not one Doc Ellis, as he would later say. His girlfriend read the paper, she said, "Doc, this can't be right. It says here that you're pitching in San Diego tonight. We got to get you to the airport." So off Doc Ellis flew. His legs were a little bit wobbly and the rest of him was too. Took a taxi to the ballpark an hour before the game. Gave a half-assed explanation. Found a locker with his name. The organ in the upper deck played all the schmaltzy hits. You could hear it in the clubhouse while Doc was getting dressed. His sunglasses he reached for from his locker in a case. Doc Ellis put his jersey on and he put them on his face. Time came to go on out there, down the corridor. The walls were a little bit wavy and there were ripples in the floor. Went out to the bullpen to do a bunch of stretches. Loosen up, girl. Throw some warm-up pitches. Exploded and the coals were already going flat. Doc was back there in the dugout. So many things to watch. Some players spit tobacco juice and others grabbed their crotch. Then the umpire out to play ball, and so it came to be. Doc's Pirates batted first when it went down 1-2-3. Doc's catcher put his mask on and he handed Doc the ball. That was 327 feet to the left and right field walls. Took the field then, Doc stood on the rubber. He bounced a couple of pitches and he bounced a couple of others. You might say about that, David, it looked a little wild. The leadoff batter trembled, nobody knew why. Doc Ellis smiled. We walk in, you hit a guy, things that people shout, especially the manager, but he did not take Doc out. Doc found himself a rhythm and a crazy little spin. Amazing things would happen when Doc Ellis zeroed in. Sometimes he saw the catcher, sometimes he did not. Sometimes he held a beach ball, other times it was a Doc. Doc was tossing comments that were leaving trails of glitter. In the 7th-inning stretch, he still had his no-hitter. So he turns to Cash, his buddy, says, I got a no-no going. Speaking the unspeakable, he goes back out there throwing. Bottom of the ninth, he stood high upon the mound. 3 more outs to go and he'd have his name in Cooperstown. And the shortstop yelled, that's 2. Must have been a madhouse, bands upon their feet. Little ones among them standing on their seats. Well, that would have brought a purple, but Spezio pinch it. He took a 3rd strike looking, and officially that was it. It was a lovely summer's morning.